Hey, hello everyone. My name is Eric Maslowski, and in this tutorial we're going to be continuing the organic modeling series by continuing the texture ahead. More specifically, we're going to be working on the color map here and figuring out exactly where the surface folds into itself and basically doing precision texturing. So, with the previous tutorial, you should be able to get something like this. This is basically just a lot of different pieces from the reference photos stitched together and smoothed out using the patch tool and clone tools. Okay, so let's take a look at how this looks on our object and taking a look at certain parts of our texture. So we jump over into Max. You can see how it looks. And if we zoom in, you'll notice that the nostrils are our flesh tone underneath. The mouth, if you look at it from the back, you can see that the lips fold into themselves a little bit, and the texture carries on from there. As well as the eyes, they fold into themselves a little bit too. And we get a little bit of a black border around there. So if we jump back into Photoshop, you can see this is exactly what we got. Currently, I just gave the nostrils a nice flesh tone over them. Same with the lips. And the eyes I just left open. So what we're going to be doing in this case is we're going to use some additional information that we grabbed from Max to help us figure out exactly where the surface folds into itself. Now with the eyes, it's a little bit hard to tell. It's a little bit hard to see which of these rings or which of these edge loops is actually where it folds into itself. Same goes for the mouth and a little bit so for the nostrils. So what we're going to end up using is we're going to end up using the normal information that we exported when we got out these UV lines or these UV guides. So if you go and you open up head_norm.jpg, which comes with this tutorial, you'll see you'll get an image like this. And this color information basically represents the surface, or which way each face is pacing. And so the technical details is basically the blue color represents the z-axis, the green color represents the y-axis, and any red contribution represents the x-axis. And so the mixture of all three axes gives us this color information. And if we take a close look at the eyes here, you can see that the colors change abruptly right around the eyes there. That lets us know that that's exactly where the lines fold into themselves, or where the surface folds into themselves. Same with the mouth here. And we get a little bit of information here on the nostrils. So we're going to just copy this into a new layer onto our texture. So Control A to select all, Control C to copy, switch over to our texture, and then Control V. Now before we do anything else with this, we want to make sure that this is part of our action that we created for to save our image. So to do that, we're just going to make sure that this new normals layer is named properly. And we're going to go up to Actions, hit the record button, and then just hide the normals layer. Make sure it says Hide Layer Normals. Hit Stop, click and drag it above the Save option, and now when we go and run our action, it'll hide both the guide and the normals and save out our texture, saving us a little bit of trouble. Okay. So let's take a look at this normal map again. We're going to create another layer on top of it, and we're just going to draw a couple key lines that we're interested in. You can use any color that will show through. In this case, we're going to use a bright green color. And we're just going to go to the brush tool, make sure it's nice and small. We're just going to give ourselves a little bit of an outline around key areas. Do the same for the mouth, as well as for the nostrils. Okay, so now that we have this, we can hide our normals section. We have this additional guide here. We can jump back down into our color layer and just start cloning parts as we need them. And so now that we have these guides here, we can very precisely texture for the geometry itself. So there I just brought it right up to the line, and if we save this out, jump back into Max, and have a look, you can see that it cuts off right at the tip, and that's exactly what we want. So now if we jump back into Photoshop and say use a nice deep red color here, maybe with a little bit of orange in it, and just start filling it in. Actually a little bit more red, a little bit darker. And so we just start filling it in, bring back our little guide, get a little bit of a better idea of what we're doing. Now again, if you're working on this texture yourself or making your own textures, I highly recommend that you work at a higher resolution so that you can get in very, very deep, very, very close to all these details and paint in all these details. So we do that, make sure it's, we're just going to take the smooth or the blur tool, make sure we got a nice hard strength, and then just give it a nice once over all the way around just to smooth out the border. And so now we're just going to save it, jump back over into Max, see what happens. There we go, we got a little bit of red. We actually need to take that out just a little bit further. But that is the general idea with using the normal map in Photoshop. Okay, so that'll basically do it for this tutorial. A really quick one, simple technique. So in the next tutorial, what we'll do is we'll take a look at how we can maybe add a few additional details to this texture, as well as, like making modifications such as a scar or whatever else you may want to add to it. Okay, if you have any questions, feel free to email me or post on the forums. Thanks.